the Photography Online podcast in partnership with Kingjoy Tripods.
Coming up in our July podcast, Icelandair identifies the world's worst photographer, and it's not one of us. We discuss why you wouldn't want to date James if romance is what you're after, and why your memory card is quite possibly fake. We look at Apple's latest tool for photographers who forgot to compose their shot, the cardboard filters for those on a budget, and the fisheye lens inspired by the sound of crashing waves.
And now, please welcome your panellists. A man whose only chance of making money in photography is to sell all his cameras. It's Marcus McAdam.
Hey, some of my cameras are worth a lot of money, you know.
And a man whose biggest fear is that one of his photos will go viral because he hasn't been vaccinated. It's James McCormick.
Oh, we'll have to ask Marcus for a clinic recommendation.
And here to keep them both in check, it's Ruth Taylor.
Hey everybody, welcome to our July podcast. I am Ruth, your host, joined once more by James and Marcus. Marcus, who's gone to the effort today, I've got to say, well done. Marcus has got a haircut, especially for the podcast.
Yeah.
So looking sharp, Marcus. We're going to have to, honestly, at this stage, because we all go to so much effort for the podcast, we're going to have to start doing a video version, I think. Just because, yeah, look at that. James has got a fancy t-shirt on with a big robin, wearing sunglasses. Marcus had his haircut.
So for anyone, Ruth, because it's World Cup season, isn't it? So anyone who wants to know what Marcus's new haircut is like, you need to Google Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, circa, I think, 2002, something like that, 2002, around about that time when you have that silly little haircut right at the front of his... That's McAdam. So you look like old fat Ronaldo.
No, what you're saying, James, is I have a Brazilian on my head.
Well, yeah, it's an Brazilian. Anyway, move on, Ruth, quickly.
Yes, I know, quickly. Let's leave that behind. Anyway, the chaps are here, Marcus and James. We've got our usual great podcast coming up for you today. We're going to have a look at a few news stories, actually, today, but we'll do a couple of short ones and then do our usual ones in there as well. We're going to be doing the pop quiz. Marcus is, I think I can fairly say at this stage, trailing ever so slightly, but it's not over yet, as we keep saying. He's going to blind us with some dazzling display.
Yeah, I'm just building up the jeopardy.
Yep.
Midway through the podcast. Got to have our usual look, of course, as well at some gear items, quite a few things we're going to talk about today. So it's going to be a good one. And welcome to it. Nice to have you listening with us. We're going to go on with our first news story, which is just a brief one, because we just want to mention this, and it ties in kind of to Marcus, who, surprise, surprise, as everybody knows by now, has been in China. So let's just get that out of the way. But Marcus, what's this one we just wanted to mention?
Well, you've pulled this one up, and it's a news story about no longer being able to purchase or fly drones in Beijing. And I welcome that news because when I was there, it was only, 3 weeks ago. And I haven't been there. I mean, I used to live there, so I know it very well. But when I lived there, it was pre-drone era. And when I was there just a few weeks ago...
Were the skies abuzz?
No,
Were they were you swatting them out of the way?
No. Didn't see a single one. But what you do see is signs everywhere. I mean, literally every 100 metres saying, no drones, no drones, no drones. And then, and I think just basically saying... no drones are allowed in the whole city and you can't even buy them, they can then take all the signs down.
So that's quite interesting. So you can't buy a DJI drone made in China, and you can't buy it in America either, I believe.
You've started saying DJI as well now. Ruth you caught the Ruth problem.
DJI. Did I just say it incorrectly then?
Yes, you did.
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent. I've caught something off Ruth.
But yes, you are right, James. So DJI, a Chinese manufacturer, they're no longer being able to be sold in the capital city of China.
Excellent.
Now, is this normal for a big city? Because I have not been to very many big cities. Drone regulations are quite tight.
You've been to Portree.
I mean, this is true. This is the capital village.
Inverness.
Yeah, Inverness also. Yeah, true. I've never flown a drone though, and I've not seen signs around the areas that do say don't fly. But I mean, big cities, is that like a normal standard?
I think, Ruth, if you're going to abide by the drone regulations, it would be near impossible to fly over a city anyway.
Let's not get down that rabbit hole. But if it's under 250 grams, then you can fly in quite a large proportion of most cities in the UK, that is.
Okay. Well, if you're planning on heading over to Beijing, China, do check the regulations if you're taking a drone with you. We've got our adventure out there next year. No drones allowed. I think it's going to be the default for that. Is that true, Marcus? Just in case I'm getting that wildly wrong.
It's something that I've set because having been there, there's no point in people taking a drone because the places that you can fly it are so few and far between. So it's easier to just say no drones are allowed, and then nobody brings a drone and wastes their time.
Fair enough, bring an extra lens. All right, let's move into the first of our news stories. So this is one that we had a lot of fun talking about a couple of months back. In fact, I'm pretty sure James said it was his favourite ever story. This is all about Icelandair, who was on the search, or who were on the search for the world's worst photographer. So we can provide an update, or Marcus can. Marcus, what's happened with this? Have they found the person?
They have found the worst photographer they could possibly find. And it's
where is Harry? Harry, where's Harry?
Yeah. No, it's a lady under the name of, and you might have to help me with the pronunciation here. She's French, so I'm going to go with Blanche Mortemard.
No,
No,
I don't speak French, but even I know that's horrible.
Okay, so go on then, Ruth. Correct me.
I mean, I can't see it. It is do you know what? I'm sorry, I thought it was Blanche, but it is a CE, so maybe you're right. Maybe it is Blanche Mortimer. I don't know. James, you got a bit of French, don't you?
It's spelt Blanche.
Not on the thing
It is further down on the quote. So
someone made a typo. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so I mean, it's hardly our fault. We don't know how to pronounce it if people are spelling it differently.
Let's call her Blanche.
Blanche. Okay, so she was crowned the winner or loser, depending on which way you look at it. But she does win $50,000. I'm presuming that's US dollars, and a 10-day trip to Iceland. She beat over 127,000 competitors from 178 countries. So she really is the worst of the worst. Although I don't think Harry entered, so that could have changed it a little bit. But she says for years, friends and family have asked why her photos always look disappointing. So she says that she's thrilled to finally have an answer, and she was been in training for this role all that time. So she said it was the only photo competition that she ever stood a chance of winning. And apart from her prize, Blanche will showcase her camera skills in Iceland next month, as according to Icelandair, the theory is that the country is so beautiful that even the world's worst photographer can't mess it up.
I'm curious why they've chosen US dollars when, I know they didn't know she was going to be French, but she's French. They're, Iceland. Why did they choose?
I can tell you why. Why? Because it's an international campaign. And if you said, we're going to give you 80,000, whatever they use in Iceland, people wouldn't know what the value of that is. So you just use dollars and everybody knows.
Fair enough. I mean, I've seen some of her pictures. They are fairly bad, but I do recognise some of the kind of things I would have shot, I would say back in the day, but it's possibly not true. It's enough that she's not faked it. She's not done something terrible just to kind of say, this is me, I'm bad. You can see she's had a go at composition and stuff and exposure.
Yeah, it's something that's incredibly difficult to do with modern cameras. Some of the, the overexposure bits and everything that I saw, it looked like she trawled through her kind of old film archives to find the world's worst photos, because that's all the kind of stuff that you used to get when you got your prints back from the chemist.
Yes, exactly.
And they had stickers on them saying, too blurry.
Finger in front of the lens, all that kind of thing. Anyway, does it matter whether there's a little bit of deliberate fakery in there or not? It's a very clever campaign, and it's really well done. And I think we might have even predicted that whoever wins it would be very perky. And indeed, she is quite a perky lady.
I'm pretty sure the word you used was annoying, but I got to say, she's not. She's just, perky is the word. She's kind of upbeat and bouncy, and I think she'll do a really good job with this.
Well, where, the division, where does the line fall between being perky and annoying, Ruth?
Oh, there's a very, very distinct line, I would say.
I can tell you which side of the line you're on, James.
Anyway, Blanche, they found her, and Marcus, do you know when she's going to be out shooting? Is it just now?
Well, they said in the summer, so I'm taking that as next month.
I was scouring, trying to find a link to see if we could follow her in real time, but I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm sure that'll become available on the various photography news websites, so you can check out that story and all the other ones we're going to talk about today in the show notes, so have a wee look at that. Story number 2, James, I thought I would give this one to you because I'm going to say you've done, maybe Marcus has actually done more of this kind of thing than you have, but
in recent times.
Tell us all about it anyway. What's been aggravating someone?
Yeah, well, we do like a story about aggravation, don't we? So, but we'll try and put positive spins on these things because I think it's important, and we are all chirpy. No, it's a story about a photographer who had to clean up a beach before doing their own photo shoot. So they were doing an engagement shoot. So getting a lovely couple, something Marcus is turning his hand to in this day and age, because he can't remember his own engagement. How did that go, by the way? Not terribly well. Never mind. We'll move on. Move on. So they went along to a beach in Minnesota to do an engagement shoot, and they discovered upon their arrival that the beach was covered in rose petals. Isn't that romantic, you might think? But no, not romantic at all, because they were plastic ones. So they were the kind of ones that get stuck in a dolphin's blowhole or take 30,000 million years to biodegrade. And it turns out another photographer had been there before them, doing a very similar shoot, and had covered the beach in these plastic rose petals and just abandoned ship, cleared off, leaving them there. So before commencing her shoot, the photographer had to clean the beach of these rose petals, these plastic rose petals. Now, what do we think about plastic rose petals? A bit unnecessary. You could have used real ones, which would have been more environmentally friendly, but still would have been littering, in my view, to leave them lying around. Plastic rose petals. I'm quite a big fan of the plastic flower, actually. So all the various ladies in my life get plastic bunches of flowers, and I think I think it's more romantic than real ones, personally. Ruth, do you know why? Because they are forever. They are forever flowers.
I couldn't tell you, James. Do you see any flowers behind me in this space?
Oh,
plastic
I might
or
not
real?
have bought you any recently. I will send you some plastic flowers, Ruth.
You did say all the ladies in your life, James, so clearly Ruth's one of them.
Well, there's little old ones, there's young ones, there's middle-aged ones, there's all sorts. All ladies deserve flowers, Marcus. Take note. And take note from me, plastic forever flowers are the way to go.
No, okay.
But not on the beach.
Take note from the resident lady, plastic flowers are not the way to go if you want to please the lady in your life. Anyway, the whole point, I mean, not the point, but you're talking about is the plastic, the fact they didn't clear up after themselves, whether it was a photographer or somebody else involved in that shoot. But the pile that she cleared up by hand.
Yeah, she did some sleuthing. So she cleared them all up, put them to one side, and shot the picture. And have a look at the link below, because I thought, well, that's quite a nice picture, and then I discovered that's not actually the picture, that's a stock picture. So the people that put this article together couldn't actually find the original picture, which is quite funny. But she did collect all the petals up, she cleaned up the beach, she did her own shoot, and then she did some sleuthing and found, I don't know how, but, by sleuthing away on Instagram or whatever, found the original shoot where the person had left the petals. And outrage across social media. Outrage and, I don't know, everything down to virtual death threats for this other unfortunate person who rather stupidly left this nonsense on the beach. So it just goes to show that old adage of leave footprints and nothing else. And if you on a beach, try not to even leave footprints, as we say to our customers when they're heading towards beaches. Don't even leave footprints if you can possibly help it.
There's always one, though, James.
There is always one that wanders off and goes, I'll take a shot from the shoreline. And the first shot I'll do from the shoreline, and then everyone else has to weave it into the composition. It's just, I don't know, what can you say about the story? It's rather atypical of the world we live in, but at least somebody cleared it up, and at least social media got to throw a lot of hate at somebody, which is what social media quite likes to do.
I tell you what's annoying or sad about this is that the people who neglect the natural environment the most are the people who depend on it for a living. And that goes beyond photography. So here on Skye, when you're walking along a really remote area of coastline, because people don't go and clean up remote areas because people just don't go there full stop, you see a lot of rubbish that's been blown in by the sea, and 99% of it is fishing related. So people who go and rely on the sea for their living, they just throw their rubbish over the side and just completely disregard the environment for it makes me angry.
Fair enough. I feel much the same about sheep farmers, but there we go, we'll move on because I'm surrounded by them.
We could go around here camping detritus and there's all sorts of things that people just choose to leave behind because it's easier.
Yeah, just clear up after yourself. It's not difficult. And if you're going to do a shoot on a beach, it's not hard to think ahead, to think that will take me a very long time to pick up 2,500 million rose petals, plastic ones, let alone real ones. So it's just dumb.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the other problem, James, is that I bet you that you said that you should have done it with real rose petals, but the sad state of the world is that plastic was probably cheaper than real, and that's why
way cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they went there, and it's just it's the same with camping equipment. Ruth just mentioned people leaving camping equipment. It's because tents are so cheap.
Yes.
That people think, well, it's only £29. It's not worth me packing it up because it's wet.
Yeah, well, we down here, as you know, in where I am on Dartmoor, we're not a million miles from various bits of Druid and activity, and the solstice was a week or 2-3 back, whatever it was now. And there are many abandoned tents after such long nights. Why you'd even need a tent on the world's shortest day anyway, I don't know.
Bivvy bag. Anyway, you can have a wee look at that and have a look at the ginormous pile. She posted a picture of the pile of petals next to her dogs, and at first I thought these were tiny little dogs until I realised actually they're not. They're full-sized, big dogs with a huge pile. 70 pound. What's it?
70 kilo. 70 kilo dog.
70
or pounds.
70 pound dogs.
70 pound dog.
So big dogs. Big plastic red petals. But anyway, have a wee look at that if you like in the show notes, if you'd like to be outraged or add your outrage to that story. Number 3, though, Marcus, this is an interesting one. This is something that's people have been predicting a little bit that might happen, and actually it's apparently happened now. But let us know what we should all be aware of. What's happening here? Well,
this is all about the price of memory, which has skyrocketed due to the unprecedented demand from AI tech companies. So such is the demand that there's a company called NVIDIA. Is that how you say it?
NVIDIA.
James? Yeah, okay, so I got that bit right. They're the world's largest chip maker.
Chip maker? All right.
Yeah, as in
calm down, Ruth, not that kind of chips.
Not fish and chips. But anyway, NVIDIA bought up all the digital storage that's available for the foreseeable future. So the handful of vendors who make such products can't keep up with demand, and as a result, the price of memory cards has increased significantly. Now, when something becomes valuable, counterfeit products usually become a problem, and this is exactly what's happening with memory cards now. So apparently, many SD cards in circulation today are fake, meaning that they will not be as large as the capacity they state they have, or they won't be as fast as what they, the read and write speeds won't be as fast as what they state on the label. So spotting a fake memory card is almost impossible, as they look identical to the genuine product, and it's not like it's money where they've got counterfeit securities on there. If you want to copy the look of a memory card, it would be very, very easy to do. But basically, fraudulent companies are buying cheap cards and then relabeling them with higher capacity labels. And when you buy such cards on places like Amazon or eBay, the chances are that you're taking a big risk, basically, because it will probably be a fake one at the moment, because they're in short supply. So the criminals have stepped in and thought, here's an opportunity to make some money. So Lexar and Samsung are apparently the most likely brands to be counterfeited. But no brand is immune from having fake cards being produced by scammers who are keen to exploit the rising cost of memory. The most likely places, like I said, are Amazon and eBay. Lexar suggests that the best way to avoid fake cards is to only buy from one of its authorised sellers, which can be found on its website. It also warns that if a product is very attractively priced, then buyers should be cautious. So it's the usual rule. But this isn't just memory cards. I mean, we're talking about memory cards now because it's the kind of thing that photographers tend to buy, but it's also the same with storage. So if you want to buy an external hard drive to store your photos on your computer, that's also gone up massively. And even smartphones are expected to rise by 20% this year as a result of this shortfall in memory.
So could this be actually a good thing for people like Lexar? They're saying, well, what you need to do is come straight to our website, where obviously they're going to make a bit more money than if they're doing it through a third-party reseller.
They're not asking you to go straight to their website. They're asking you to go to their website to find out what the authorised sellers are. So you could go to their website and it would say Ford's Photographic, and then you know that when you're buying a Lexar card from Ford's Photographic, it's come directly from them. But if you buy a Lexar card on Amazon, for example, then if you look at the seller will be someone like Mike 2000. And every time you refresh the page, apparently it gives you a different seller. And so,
interesting.
Yeah, and so that's the problem. So just beware, basically. But there are ways that you can test a card for its speed and capacity, but you need to download additional software to do that. But it's not really something that you want to be taking a chance with, is it? Your memory card.
No, you want to run a few trials, whatever memory card you buy, whenever you first get it as well. So, and that means shoot it a little bit. And then upload the images, and then shoot it to capacity, and then upload the images. So basically, you're just running it through and format it each time you finished using it. And that way, you can hopefully alleviate any problems or card failure. Basically, it won't stop you from. It won't tell you if you bought a fake card, but it will at least minimise the chances of card failure.
Yeah, I remember last time being out on a shoot with you, James, which was, I don't know, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and you just bought you were using your new camera, and you kept on cursing because it was taking so long to display the photo, and it kept on saying, reading card.
Yeah, so that was it. It was a memory card issue. So I bought 2 CF Express, the Type Bs.
Off of Amazon by any chance?
Yes.
So there you go then. They were probably fake.
Oh, yeah. No, I've no idea. It was so long ago because I just opened these things and instantly recycle the packaging because I like to save the world. So I have no idea. I can't return them, but one of them is complete waste of time.
Yeah.
So it will go in the bin, and I've tried everything, reformatting and reading various threads on what to do in such situations.
Now,
but because pictures are so valuable, the best thing you can do in that situation is bin it and buy another one.
Yeah, or just shoot film. But the on the topic of this, I did get an email about a week ago from a lady who is currently in Scotland, and her memory card has failed, and she's got her entire trip's worth of photos on this card, and she turned the camera on one day and it just said, you need to format the memory card, it's unreadable. But she said, I don't want to format the memory card because it's got my photos on it. And so she obviously Googled, photography places in Scotland, and we came up somewhere. And so she dropped me an email just saying, what do you suggest? And so regardless of what my answer was, because that's a different kettle of fish altogether, but the problem is
Did you suggest a sort of 3-week photographic trip somewhere far afield with us?
No, but all I'm saying is that the problem is clearly there, and people are buying cards which are failing.
Yeah, I think you're. I mean, I've heard very little of card failure, and ever since the dawn of digital, I've only ever had one CF card fail. And I think that was probably my fault anyway, because I think it was a physical failure. For anyone that's listening, if Ruth doesn't edit that out, that's Marcus drinking his soda stream.
Listen, we record on separate mics for a reason.
We do record on separate microphones. It doesn't mean it doesn't come through like a jumbo jet passing about 3 feet above my head, though. Which is very funny. But I've only ever had one CF card fail, and I think that was a physical failure, i.e. I damaged it in some way. So I think, and the prices, you said the price of cards and CF Express cards are more expensive than their CF counterparts or their SD counterparts were. So yeah, be careful what you buy, and test them thoroughly as well. So... And shoot to 2 cards. If you possibly can, shoot to 2 cards. Why you wouldn't for dual slot people?
Well, I'll tell you why you wouldn't now, James. I'll tell you why you wouldn't now is because they're double the price.
Well, yeah, but if you're putting it in a £6,000 camera lens combo,
yes,
honestly, please shoot to 2 cards, and don't shoot JPEG to 1. Shoot RAW to both. But honestly, what is wrong with you out there, people?
If we take this story right back to the basics, AI is to blame again.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
I do know a few people who use memory cards like film, and that they use a memory card, and once it's full, they put it off to the side and they use another memory card.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
going to end up getting very expensive.
Yeah,
as more than one person. Yes. I know we both know someone, but I've heard other people say they do that as well. So things are about to get real for them. Anyway, that's the memory cards skyrocketing, and could possibly be fake as well. So check out the show notes if you want some advice and wisdom, and see what people are saying all about that. Story number 4, James. Story number 4. What's happening here? Tell me all about it.
We are off to Bali, Ruth. So I thought you'd like that.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds
Thank
nice,
you.
doesn't it?
That'll do. No flowers needed. Bali will do. Yeah.
No, right, okay, so I'll park the plastic flowers. And
can you ask us, Ruth, if we've ever been to Bali? Because you normally say, have either of you been to Bali?
That's usually when we're doing the listening stats. Have either of you ever been to Bali?
No. Yes, I have.
No, I knew you'd say that.
Right, Marcus, keep your story for after, James. Give James a chance. Tell us about the story. What's it about?
So, if you're going to go to Bali with Marcus, Ruth, you need to check the visa that you're going to apply for, because Bali's been a bit of a hotspot for photographers and influencers and people creating content, and they've been going over there and filming all sorts of different content, and the way they're being paid, they're not, it's not necessarily with an invoice in cash, it's with, I don't really understand how this works, but influencers are often paid with products, or they're paid with services, or they're paid in foreign bank accounts, so away from Bali basically. But they're creating their content in Bali under a tourist visa, so they've entered the country using a tourist visa. And the Balian authorities are saying, well, hang on a minute, you're actually making money in our country and in theory not paying tax on it and not declaring it. So you therefore need to either register a business in Bali, or you need to apply for a different form of visa. And they've been rounding people up in droves, Ruth, in droves. I did have the number somewhere, I've lost it. But it was a considerable number of people. I was quite surprised, actually. It was a few hundred people.
It's about, it's 170 something, I think.
Yeah, so they've been rounding them up and deporting them, basically, or detaining them for basically creating content on the wrong visa. So I think, one has to be slightly sensible wherever you go in the world. You do need to check what visas you need and what you're doing and why you're there, and do things legitimately. But I would also say that I feel a little sympathy for influencers. There's a sentence I never thought I would say. But because Bali very much opened up its doors as, a region of Indonesia, and opened up its doors to say, come and be a tourist, create content, especially aimed at a younger market than Marcus or I won't include you in our bracket, although fast approaching. Bali had a terrible incident a long time ago now with an act of terrorism. And ever since then, the Indonesian authorities have opened Bali up and encouraged people to come. And now they're cracking down on it. So, there's, I dare say two rights don't make a wrong. So it's a slightly, complicated story. It's never quite as simple as it seems. But at the end of the day, if you want to go to Bali and you want to make content, just stick within the rules and regulations and the laws. They're all there. They're all laid out, and you should be fine.
And are they including people in this who, you go on holiday, maybe with no intentions of doing anything spectacular, but then you start creating content because everybody does? Is it purely people that they can say you kind of premeditated this, you knew you were coming for a purpose, you were getting something from it, and you didn't tell us?
Well, that would be a very hard thing to prove,
which is why I'm curious how everyone's shooting content. Yeah.
I mean, the same would apply to various rules in, the intent, I think is the word. So did you arrive with intent? I don't know is the answer. I don't know whether they would be able to prove that, whether they would bother, or whether they would just round you up, decide that, have a look through all the content you've made, almost certainly do some online research about you, and then choose whether to deport you or not.
You're too pretty not to be making money, so away you go. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
But okay, so if I wanted to go to Bali,
yes.
and I wanted to say, take a camera with me and take some photos that I might or might not want to upload to a stock agency, which side of the line do I fall on there?
I suppose, in theory, if your sole intent was to go, you would have to get a visa that permitted that, so a non-tourist visa. So there is a line that the Balian officials have said that is whether money changed hands is no longer the deciding factor. So in other words, just because you're not paid to arrive there, if you're being paid afterwards, or you've been paid in advance, or you're shooting for Getty Images, or you're shooting for your own, Marcus's Fashion of 2026 blog page on Instagram, and you're being paid with bunches of plastic roses, in theory, you would have to apply for a slightly different visa for that. But I would imagine that this is, and obviously I can't be held to this, but I would imagine it's a fairly short-ish term, a little bit of a crackdown or a little bit of a readjustment of the Balian authorities. And I would imagine it will go away quite quickly.
There's obviously a reason that they're doing it, but I always say that if you want to promote a location, then promote it to photographers and content creators, because then they do the publicity for you. They do the marketing for you for free.
I completely agree. And as I said earlier, Bali had a terrible incident, a shockingly sad incident a long time ago now. And, Bali is very reliant on its tourist industry. So this news story won't be doing them a particular favour now, but I've dug into it a fair bit and I can't find a particular reason for their crackdown.
And it's also a very grey area, and I'll give you an example here. I'm not about to go to Bali, but if you take the Bali situation and place it somewhere else, next week I'm going on holiday with my daughter, and I'm going on holiday with her to a location which we run a photo trip on. So I'm going on holiday, 100% on holiday, but I will have a camera with me. And if I see something that I think, oh, that's good, I might take a photo of it, and that photo will then get used to promote our trip in future.
Oh, well, there's grey areas in everything. And as soon as I saw this story coming up, I thought this will get Marcus's goat, because you could apply this to absolutely anything.
Yeah, but what are you supposed to do? Am I supposed to then go to the police after I've taken a photo and say, listen, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, but I've just taken a photo.
I am not the Indonesian police.
I've just taken a photo which may be used for...
Ruth, can you tell him to calm down? I am just reading the story, and I am pointing out that I would suggest that if you are going to do a full-on fashion shoot in Bali, you get a proper visa to do it. If you're going on holiday with your daughter, or you've been on holiday with your daughter to a particular location, and you take a picture that you might use from your phone, or even if you've got a DSLR or mirrorless camera with you,
then go and declare it at the police station.
Camera, calm down about it. I don't think you're going to be locked up, unfortunately.
The easy way around this, of course, as Marcus would say, is just shoot film. And
film would apply.
No, but nobody will know that you're. It's not going to be online. Assuming you've chosen not to post it online, that's nobody knows.
No. I think the part of the story is that they will see you with lots of equipment and just come up.
Oh, they're actually going to be looking in with their eyeballs. Yes, there's a
not
just online.
Force. No, there's a task force called Dharma Dawata Task Force, and they're going out and they're hunting down these people.
Okay.
So they're going to look at your tripod and look at your camera and go, well, that's a professional.
And they're going to see your 1820 camera, your big film camera,
yes,
on top, and that's it. You're going to be in Alcatraz for the rest of time. Thank God for that.
So Harry's got the step up here. Camouflage is going to be a whole new thing. Anyway, Marcus, did you have a story around Bali?
No, other than I went there.
Oh, you're just saying you've been there.
I went there a long time ago, and I was very, very disappointed in it. It was just I had expectations of it being paradise, and although there are parts of the island that are very nice, most of it was very, very commercialised. And this was... And
was this after it had become commercial? Because it never used to be like that way back in the day.
No, this was 20 years ago, so it would be much worse now. I mean, it's basically, from what I can gather, it's basically the Ibiza for Australians. That's where they all go, because it's the only place that's within, a 72-hour flight from Australia.
Ruth, put it this way, I can remember asking him what was Bali like, and he went, it was a load of SH1T, and that was the end of the conversation. So we've done our bit for the Bali and tourist boards.
But if the Indonesian authorities are listening, there are other islands in Indonesia which were absolutely stunning. I mean, beautiful.
And we are highly skilled at making even the most unappealing place look appealing, because that's what we do sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Indonesia, give us a shout.
Yes. Okay. Well, unlikely. But again, check out the show notes if you want to see more on that story. Maybe you're planning going over that way. Make sure you're doing things the correct way. Very briefly, just to finish, we wanted to do this because it is a wee bit topical. The World Cup is going on, and I think will still be going on by the time this actually goes out. So as it stands right now, my home team are still in play. I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the case once you're listening to this.
I think you can safely say, Ruth, that as it stands, my home team are on their way home. Where they belong. My
home team are having a party and enjoying themselves very much. But anyway, Marcus, there's a story here we just want to briefly mention. One of the managers in one of the national teams has been complaining about photographers ruining his World Cup debut. What's going on here then?
Yeah, so have you heard of the England team, Ruth?
I think did they win something like a few decades ago, like 100 years ago or something?
Yes, 1966. Okay, and they're trying to get football to come home again. But anyway,
it's not home.
The new manager, Thomas Tuchel, is he German, James?
That's a great.
Yes, he is German. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's also an ex-Chelsea manager. Dirty turncoat.
So he has complained to FIFA that photographers ruined his view of the players during the opening match. However,
he couldn't see them singing the national anthem, God Save Our German King.
It wasn't that they were in the way of them playing. It was they were in the way of them singing. And I don't think that that's very important for the coach to be able to see the players singing. So I think, Thomas, get a life.
Okay, wee bit harsh. I mean, I was intrigued to read this because it reminded me of a story that we did maybe a year or so ago about a wedding photographer who was basically getting in the way of those people that had been invited to attend in person. This was an event that they wanted to be part of. They were part of the ceremony, and this photographer was basically just getting in the way and ruining things for everyone. It's kind of on the same thing, but not altogether. It is a case where photographers can actually disrupt live events for those who have been there. I mean, is that a big deal? Is that important? If you've paid specifically to go somewhere rather than watch on the telly, and then once you're there...
He didn't pay. He was there. He was there to do a job.
I'm sure they paid. Blood, sweat and tears.
He was there to do a job, and someone's just got in the way temporarily, and just get over it, you know?
There is quite a lot of someones there, to be fair to him.
Yes.
I know, but why is it important that he can see his players singing?
I told you, so he can see who sings God Save the King.
It's just nonsense.
It is a nonsense story, I'm afraid, but there we are.
If England had lost, then I would be blaming this on sour grapes, but he's got nothing to complain about. Just get on and think about the next match, you know?
Yeah, all right. Anyway, all of those stories, show notes, whatever platform you're listening on, do check the O's out. We're going to move on.
The Photography Online podcast in partnership with Kingjoy Tripods.
Yes, we love Kingjoy Tripods. They're supporting us again on the podcast in 2026. Every month, we are playing a clip of one of the team using a tripod from Kingjoy, obviously, somewhere in the world. From the clues that they will provide us, you guys can try and work out where they are and what they are taking a photo of. Now, last month, we heard from Marcus, who sent us a shot from the Great Wall in China, which I think James and I both, we twigged quite early on where that was happening. The clues were quite large, shall we say. Anyway, this month we are going to hear from Nick.
Hey Ruth, today I'm at a real bucket list location, not just for photographers, but for everyone. Before I describe the amazing scene in front of me, let me quickly tell you about the tripod I've chosen for this visit, which, by the way, I had to get special permission to use, as tripods aren't generally allowed here. Although I've had to travel a long way to get here, 2 planes, a train and a bus, I knew there was no hiking involved, so this allowed me to go for something a little sturdier than my usual travel choice. Now, I'm up in the mountains at almost 8,000 feet, so I knew it could be reasonably windy, and for that reason I have brought the Kingjoy C85, which offers a great compromise between weight and stability. The good thing about this is that it sits in the sweet spot where it's a bit beefier than a dedicated travel tripod, but still small and light enough to put in a suitcase when flying. So I've got my camera all set up, and the conditions are absolutely perfect. Before me I have the most amazing set of ancient ruins, which are surrounded by terraced walls. If you can imagine, the backdrop is near vertical mountain cliffs, and I've even managed to get a lone tree perfectly situated on the left of the frame, so I'm really ticking all the boxes here. Oh, and there's also low-hanging cloud around the peaks, which is giving this place what I think is the perfect atmosphere. Looking up at the sky, I can see that the sun's just about to break through, so let me just get this shot. Yes, that's exactly the kind of shot I was hoping to get from here. Even though I got the bus here from my hotel, this place lies at the end of one of the world's most famous hikes, so I'm expecting the crowds to start building soon. Amazingly, I've just managed to get a shot without anyone in it, but where in the world do you think I am?
Well, Nick will be back later on in the show to tell us where he is. You can, of course, see the image he's taken as well by clicking the link in the show notes. Don't do that, though, before the end of the show. That's just cheating. Anyway, if you want to know what's available in the Kingjoy's professional lineup, do check out the Photography Online shop if you're listening from here in the UK. Or you can head on over to kingjoy.com for international sales or to find out your nearest dealer. All right, well, thank you as ever to Kingjoy. We are going to move on to...
the Photography Online podcast quiz.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the pop quiz. That is the Photography Online podcast quiz where I ask James and Marcus photography-related questions. You guys, of course, can play along as well. The answers will be revealed at the end. Here's how it works. 5 rounds, each one worth a point for the correct or the closest answer sometimes. In the event of a tie, both of them receive the point. Now, James did let us slip recently that the pop quiz is the most stressful 10 minutes of his month.
Oh, Ruth, we were having a little quiet moment there. I was just... shocking.
I'm just curious, is that why you chew on wooden pencils and things like that?
I chew on a wooden pencil because you've banned me from having a pen.
I did ban you from having a pen. I mean, I've been gracious for the last 2.5 years, and it's just got to the point where I thought, nope, it's not going to happen. So
Ruth.
he's got a pencil with a rubber tip on it, thankfully. Yes.
Ruth, who wouldn't be nervous and stressed going head-to-head against me?
I know. The reigning loser so far. Anyway, pop quiz is coming up. Let's move in to our first question.
Round 1, photography trivia.
All right, the world's longest interchangeable autofocus DSLR lens is the Canon EF 1200mm f5.6. In case you're curious,
I want one.
USM. You've got one? Oh, okay.
No,
you
I
might
want
have an advantage
one.
here.
I want one.
You want one?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the question. What is its closest focusing distance?
Oh. In meters or feet?
You can give me either. I have both here. I'm prepared.
Okay. It's close.
Well, to be fair, if you got closer in feet, then you might even get a half point for that.
Okay.
I think I actually used one once at the photography show. I looked through one. They had one on the Canon.
Oh, it was on a gimbal. And you looking down the length of the auditorium.
I can't remember now. So just write down a random number and we can move on. Hey,
well, hang on, Ruth. I think we both need to go for the same kind of
meters
scale.
or feet?
I've got meters.
Okay. I can easily convert.
Because if one of us had given feet and one of us had given meters, then there would have been all hell would have broken
just remind
loose.
me, did you just say meters or feet?
Yes, meters.
Meters, all right.
We're going European.
Right, fine. Done it.
Okay, excellent.
Round 2, multiple choice.
All right, well, in this round, I'm going to ask a question which is fairly difficult. So to help you out, there are 4 possible answers. I need you to tell me which one you think is correct. Here's the question. A 2018 study aimed to discover the country with the highest amount of selfie-related deaths in the previous 7 years. Which country came out on top?
God, keep it light.
Russia. B, Pakistan. C, United States. D, India.
Is that not incredibly obvious?
Well, you tell me, but not yet. Write it down. Write down your incredibly obvious answer. James has obviously got something. Marcus, you got something there?
I have, yes.
All right.
Round 3, name the year.
All right, well, the answer to the question is, of course, a year. The round goes to whoever gets the closest in this one. If either of you gives me the exact year, you will get a bonus point. All right, here's the question. In what year was the first underwater photograph taken of a human being?
Taken by a human being?
Human being.
Oh, of a human being. Oh, I wonder if that was Jacques. Oh, no, I'm not going to say his name because that'll give it away.
Oh, will it? I'm not sure that it will. Possibly.
Really?
Might be doing a disservice to Marcus. I don't know, maybe.
I was going to say someone with a French sounding...
So I reckon you guys should just go and do a brief history of photography at some stage. And
you're so rude.
No. I mean, have basic dates in your head for certain things, and then you could maybe work out other ones just thinking around it.
We both used to lecture at Laycock, which is the birth
Yes, I know.
of photography.
I know.
Shush.
But not about the birth of photography.
No, we did. Well, it was part of one of the courses I did. Anyway, can we just move on from that, please?
Okay, you both got something in that case?
I have written
yes?
the year down, which is what I believe you needed.
I do, thank you.
Round 4, artificial intelligence.
All right, well, you guys have been doing pretty well in this one, that mostly because I'm struggling to find suitably complicated topics that are still guessable. Anyway, here we go. I asked ChatGPT in this round to describe a photographic object, person, practice, location, whatever, without mentioning the name of the subject. All I need you to do is tell me, what did I ask it to talk about? Here we go.
I am frequently purchased with grand intentions and used with aching knees. My subjects are everywhere, yet rarely noticed. The closer I get, the more flaws reveal themselves. Light becomes scarce. Depth becomes shallow. Patience becomes essential. What am I?
Patience is essential, and the closer I get, the more flaws appear.
Yeah.
If I wrote down Ruth, I'd be in big trouble, wouldn't I, Marcus?
Yes, you would. You both got something?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Round 5. Take a wild guess.
Well, as the name suggests, on this round, it requires an answer which could be almost anything, so you're unlikely to get it exact. You all need to take a wild guess, and as with round 2, the point goes to whoever gets closest to the answer. Although unlikely if you do get the exact, there are 2 bonus points. Never happened yet. Here is the question. How many autofocus points does the Sony A7R5 have?
Do we have to make polite conversation about why this might be interesting whilst guessing?
I mean, this. Let me just tell you, it's not just traditional autofocus points. There may or may not be AI involved.
Okay. So they're not okay, right? That could be anything then.
Just put a zero. Put a zero on the end of whatever
point.
you've written. That's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. In fact, there we go. Because I don't really understand either.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, it's going to be a massively high number, isn't it, now?
I reckon it's in the millions, Marcus.
Well, but the thing is...
I mean, it could be, to be fair.
It could be pixel. It could be pixel.
It could be in the thousands, easily.
So if it's got,
Look at unfortunately, the listeners can't see that Miss Taylor's poker face, as we say various numbers, she gives nothing away. It's just blank, the expression on Ruth's face.
Right,
blank.
Okay. I've just done what you've done then, James. I've just put a 0 on the end.
Yeah,
and then,
There you are.
Okay, you guys all got something right. Okay, let's go back to round 1, which is photography trivia. I wanted you to tell me the closest focusing distance of the Canon EF 1200mm. And let me just get my bit of paper ready for this. Let's go first for Marcus. We wanted the meters as well, didn't we?
Yeah, I've gone 18 metres.
Ooh. 10 metres.
Okay. Well, for the first time ever...
Can't be 18.
Neither of you are right, but it's bang in the middle. It's 14. It's 14 metres. So you give me 10, James. Marcus gave me 18.
But if you factor in the length of the lens...
Here we go.
I'm just saying.
Closest, I think I'm going to have to give you both a point for that one. Yeah. Either that
That's
or
amazing.
nil pois altogether, so it's not going to make much difference, but just make you feel better. Point each on that one then. Here we go, round 2. Oh, do you want to know more about it, by the way? It weighs 36 pounds. It's 33 inches long.
Can we have that in kilos,
the one
please?
you were talking about. 16.5.
16.5
kilos for the Europeans listening. Released in 1993 for €90,000. Only a few dozen were ever made, averaging 2 per year due to the time that they took to make, and one sold at auction back in 2021 for €500,000. So that's a bit of a bucket list item, potentially.
Yeah,
so there we go. Round 2 was multiple choice. I asked you which country came out on top for the highest amount of selfie-related deaths in the period of, I think that would be, 2011 to 2018. So they did a study on the previous 7 years back in 2018. The choices were Russia, Pakistan, United States and India. What do we reckon,
well,
James?
as long as I've got the question right, so it's not a percentage. It's you said total number of people, right? So it's not a percentage.
No, it's just number of people.
Yeah, well, it must be India then. It must be India because there's like 4 times as many people in India as those other countries, I would think.
Okay, so you're going for India. Marcus?
Yeah, no, I've gone D as well, India.
Okay, you are correct. The study showed there were 259 selfie-related deaths reported globally between that period. Highest occurrences were in India, accounting for nearly 60% of all those deaths, followed by Russia, the US and Pakistan as well. Mean age, any guesses for the mean age of the people who died?
I'm going to go
15.
I'm going to go older. I'm going to go 48.
Oh, wow, okay. Old enough to know better. No, 23, about half of that. And male deaths outnumbering female about 3 to 1.
Yeah.
So
I think that says a lot about Marcus's psyche, that he still has the thought processes of a sort of teenager, late 20s, as he's fast approaching 60.
Anyway, dubious honour goes to India. Look at you guys, 2 each at the moment, so it's neck and neck. Round 3, I asked what year was the first underwater photograph taken of a man?
Go on then, Marcus.
Well, I've gone 1922.
Ooh, we're close. I've gone 1919 because I like the sound of it. Well, I mean, is there any other reason?
James got that one. 1899. You're both well off, to be fair.
Wrong century.
Yeah, wrong century. It's one of those things that it would have been a checklist item for people. Once you've done cameras have been around for a long time at that stage, and diving suits also. So there we go, 1899. You do get a point, James. A credit to. Do you know? You mentioned a Frenchman. Do you know who this is?
I don't. I haven't got a clue, but I was thinking it might be something to do with Jacques Cousteau or something. But I mean, that was just initially popped into my mind, but it was nothing to do with my answer.
It was a French zoologist and photography pioneer, Louis Vuitton, not Louis Vuitton.
Does he make shoes?
He makes suitcases, yeah. He captured a portrait of his colleague in the south of France. He posed underwater holding a chalkboard with the reversed French words for underwater photography. And because of the lack of light and the camera's limited technology, the exposure lasted for a staggering 30 minutes. He built custom waterproof housings, and he utilised magnesium powder flash lamps to properly expose that photo underwater. So pretty impressive. But that's Louis Vuitton, not the shoemaker. So there we go. Well done, James, on that one. Round 4 was artificial intelligence. What was I asking it to talk about? Marcus, on you go.
I've gone macro photography.
Okay. James?
Oh, I might have misunderstood the question. Or I've written down extension tubes.
Okay. I'm going to give it to Marcus because it's a macro lens.
Well, actually, Ruth, I did. Look,
hang on a minute.
Look,
he's written down a genre. I've written down a piece of equipment. What was the exact question?
Look. What did I write down first? There, look.
Yeah.
And I crossed it out.
It doesn't matter what you wrote down first.
But I wrote down macro lens.
You wrote down Kellogg's cornflakes on that pad first. That's not your answer.
To be fair, it did say things like "you use me with aching knees," and the closer I get. So it was referring to an item.
It's a piece of equipment.
Yeah, but you're still well off, James. So we've already done extension tubes, so well done for noticing that one. Yes, we have.
The price of memory, Ruth, it's gone up.
Yeah, exactly. It counts for a whole lot. No, I'm going to give Marcus a point for that one because we know what he meant. Anyway, round 5, take a wild guess. I asked how many autofocus points was on the Sony A7R5, and it was a wild guess. So, James, why don't you go first on this?
I wrote down 500. I added a 0 to 50. I don't know about these things at all, as you know.
Yeah, no, it was very much a wild guess question. Marcus?
Well, I'm going to go way higher. I mean, I could just nip this one in, be ready, and just go 501 because I know it's going to be it's going to be bigger than 500. But I'll be honest, because I am.
Well, show us the pad.
Yeah, look, there we go. I've gone 2,480.
Okay.
Because I originally wrote down 248, and you told me to put a 0 on the end.
I wrote down 50 because I didn't understand the question to start with. Yeah.
I was going to put a 0 on the other end, but then that didn't actually change the number, so I put it on.
Good to know the technique, which, although it's not been working for you so far, does continue to be the case. If you'd put a 501, you would have won.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was 693. So James does actually get that one. He was closer there. So they're phase detection autofocus points, apparently. They cover 79% of the sensor. Now, AI is involved, but I don't want to go any deeper than that because it is quite complicated sounding. So 693, the chances of being out of focus with that Sony, pretty limited. Maybe they'll give one to Blanche. What do you reckon when she goes out to Iceland? Or would that be kind of ruining the whole experience? I wonder what she'll use, if she'll use her own camera or... I don't know. Anyway, 4 points... James, 3 points, Marcus. So it was closer than usual, potentially. But yeah, James winning that one. So well done, James.
So basically I won because I got a question right in the wrong century and was about 40 years out or something.
It seems to be how it works these days. Yes,
I love
like I
this
say,
quiz.
I did hear of a photography course down in Laycock, so maybe you guys can partake and scrub up on your history of photography. If you guys manage to score higher than James, do let us know what score you got. Also, if you'd like to submit any questions, as we always say, for any of the rounds. In fact, I should have mentioned that one of these questions did come from someone who I thought I'd written down, and I apologise because I haven't. It was the underwater question. Where's it gone? I don't know. I apologise. Whoever it was that sent that in, I think it was someone called Mark, then I appreciated that one. And like I say, if you've got any questions you feel flinging into me for consideration for any of the rounds, do send them in. We've got that dedicated email address, podcast@mt2photography.com.
Listeners from an unlikely location.
All right, well, I've been practicing this one. Having a wee look at the stats, of course, as usual, trying to find some listeners from more unusual locations. We've got 2 people listening in Bulgaria. Now, I found various ways of greeting people in Bulgaria, but the one that I managed to, at one stage, pronounce myself, although I think I've forgotten again, is Istavite, I think. That is hello. So if you're listening in Bulgaria, Istavite to you. Gallipix58 got in touch. He is listening in Trinidad and Tobago. I think that was off the back of me getting mixed up with Togo on the podcast last month or the month before that. But he's listening over there in Trinidad and Tobago. I did look for the language, but English is the official language over there. So just hi to you, Gallipix. Thomas Reichart on Spotify got in touch. He said, I'm listening in Mexico. There should be a bunch of people listening from here, but since you never mentioned it, I'll give it a try. Keep going. I love your mix of topics. So hola to you, Thomas, and your mates, or maybe not your mates, who are listening over in Mexico. Always wonderful hearing where people are tuning in from. And thank you for your comment on last month's podcast. I was welcoming a listener last month from Manitoba. Now, I made the mistake of referring to Manitoba as a state. Now, I just plead ignorance and Scottish educational system and all that stuff. Yes, I have been informed by more than one person that Canada has provinces and territories. So David Fitzpatrick got in touch. Just for your education, Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. It's the province of Manitoba. It's the US that has states. And Dan got in touch as well. He emailed me. So thank you for that. He says, I have, well, he didn't. He mentioned something political and says they do still have provinces and not states, but I'll not go into that. Anyway, I've been educated now, so my deepest apologies for my ignorance. On the plus side, though, it appears we've now doubled our Manitoba listeners from 1 to 2. I've been checking that out this month. So we had 1 last month, we've got 2 this month. Perhaps it's all the bad publicity.
Maybe you should just offend more people, Ruth, and we'll double the audience in those places.
No, well, we don't want to take work away from you, do we?
That's true.
That's true, you got that area covered. Oscar was in touch. Oscar 33212. He said, for a channel that I always thought supported or promoted photography, I've never heard so much gatekeeping with regards to African safaris in my life. Now, this, I think, is in reference to last month. And
is he talking about... well, it's not just Africa. I think we were talking about tigers as well. Is that right?
I think we were.
Is he referring to people should behave themselves around animals and respect?
Yes, but I think also the fact, James, perhaps that you quite frequently then delve into what we do right on our safaris, which to some people might come across as only we do it right, and nobody else should be doing it unless it's. I can see where he's coming from on this, so that's coming from Oscar.
Well, I'm only describing the particular news stories that we've been talking about. There are dozens and dozens of people out there and conservation groups that do safari and safarying or wildlife photography, and indeed wildlife photographers who do it very well. But where the fine line comes between basically how close do you get to an animal and not. I mean, in an ideal world, you don't photograph animals at all. You leave them alone. But obviously, you need to monetize them. So,
This topic just seems to be dripping over into... Every time we have someone commenting, we apologise and then make it worse. And then we get another comment.
Why is that not making it worse? It's a fine. If he's taken the time to contribute, then good on him.
Yeah, fair dues. And like I say, there's lots of people doing it very well all over the world. So just trying to give some good advice for...
The problem is, Ruth, is there's no news stories about people doing it well. There's only news stories about people doing it badly, which is why we cover them.
And also, if he's alleging that we only talk about ourselves doing it well, I I wouldn't want to do it badly, if that makes sense. So, no offence, buddy, but, thank you for contributing, and maybe a little reminder here and there is never a bad thing to people that create content. So that's good, but I would struggle. I do also have one other point of order, Ruth, okay?
Oh, no. Okay.
No, it's perfectly safe. And it will just rub it into Marcus, because I mentioned Jacques Cousteau, okay? And I won the quiz this week by getting it. I think I chose 1911 for the
1919, I think it was.
1919, sorry. 1919. Well, if Jacques Cousteau, he would have been 8 at the time. He'd been diving, because I've just Googled him to see when he was born. And he was born in 1911. So he would have been 8, because we'll get letters about that, no doubt.
Okay.
Letters, if people still send letters, emails.
We'd like a letter. It'd be nice, actually. If anyone wants to send a letter in, you might have to email for the postal address, actually.
With a stamp from the province of Manitoba.
That would be amazing. Anyway, thank you, Oscar, for that. Martin Ross also got in touch on Spotify. He said, I'd like to announce a Kickstarter/GoFundMe to raise funds in order to make a kilt for James woven in 35mm film. Please visit www.jamesandthegiantpleats.com, which I thought was, and I actually Googled it.
That would probably be more comfortable, James, than having one made of tweed.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I quite like it. I've got a couple of tweed suits.
I mean, it might be just as waterproof, to be fair, as tweed.
No, tweed's not. No. Let's get it straight. Tweed really is not waterproof. Once it's sodden, the rest of the water just runs off it.
All right. Well, he's got a Kickstarter about ready to go, jamesandthegiantpleats.com, which I thought was fabulous. Anyway, always appreciate your feedback. Do keep it coming. Any comments, or just let us know, like I said, where you are tuning in from. You can comment on any of those platforms you're listening on, or email podcast@mt2photography.com.
It may be new, it may even be exciting, but does the world really need it?
All right, Marcus. Yes. What have we got at number 1 here?
Okay, so this is the Daystar Universal Solar Filter. It's an affordable solar filter that will fit onto almost any lens. It's made with cardboard and solar foil, and it folds around the front element of your lens, probably requiring some masking tape to hold it in place, I would imagine. Now, this isn't intended to be a high quality, serious product. It's just made to be a budget version, almost disposable, I would say, solar filter. So if you're interested in photographing a solar eclipse, and the next one is coming up next month, and we're doing a trip to Spain to see that. The only other place that you're likely to see it is if you go to the very, very west coast of Iceland. That's the only other place it makes landfall. But I
was going to say, because the very, very west coast of Ireland hasn't actually seen the sun at all for about 25,000 years.
Funny enough, if you are on the west coast of Ireland, you will get something like 97% of the sun covered up. But
nice.
even with 3%, it's still daylight. So, and like James says, it will be behind the clouds anyway, so who cares? But no, if you venture right to the very western peninsula of Iceland, then you will see the eclipse, a total solar eclipse. But the problem you have there is that if it's cloudy, you can't move because you'd have to go north or south into the sea, and you can't obviously do that. So Spain's the place to go, and it basically covers the entire north coast of Spain and then goes down through kind of like central Spain as well, where it kind of ends in the Balearic Islands, I believe. But anyway, back to this filter. I always use a company called Barda Film, which make very high quality kind of film, and the film that they use in this isn't quite as good optically. But like I said, it's not made for a serious kind of, you wouldn't want to put this filter on a £4,000 lens, put it that way. It comes in 3 sizes. Small will cost you $17. That will fit a filter, a front element of up to 69mm. So we're not talking about the screw thread here. We're talking about the outside diameter of the lens hood, because that's what it has to fold around. A medium will go up to 89mm, and that will cost you $25. And a large will go up to 109mm, and that will cost you $30. Now, 109mm might sound like quite a lot, but I had a 500mm f4 lens. James, do you remember that? You used it quite a lot.
Yeah,
okay,
I do.
so the front, I've looked it up because obviously I don't have it anymore. I couldn't measure it, but I've looked it up, and the diameter of the front lens hood is 150 millimeters. So the large Daystar universal solar filter wouldn't come close to going over a lens that big. And when you're shooting the solar eclipse, you generally want to be shooting it on a long lens. So I don't know how many long lenses this is actually going to fit on. I think it's probably made more for binoculars and people who are, not serious about photographing the solar eclipse. They don't really care how big it is. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun little product, and it's an affordable way to shoot the solar eclipse if you're not too bothered about the results that you get. So
I'm curious, because a lot of the things you see for solar eclipse and pictures of people shooting them, they do have things like this, which look like they came out of the back of a cereal box. Are there actually professional versions of these that people will buy?
Yeah, so the one that I make is basically made from cardboard, and I do cut.
But this is what I mean. Why is everything cardboard? I know they only happen every so often, but does there not exist like a case filters version of something like this?
Okay, so the problem there is that you'd have to screw that in probably to the front element, and when you're shooting a solar eclipse, you have to be able to remove that filter and then put it back on again very, very quickly, because otherwise you're going to miss the most important parts. Because when the sun is not completely covered by the moon, you have to have the filter in place. But then as soon as the moon goes across the sun, in fact, the very last second, you get something called the diamond ring and Bailey's beads. And that you don't want the filter on for. So you have 1 second to remove the film, otherwise you miss the most important part of the eclipse. And then at the other side of it, as soon as you see the sun just start to chink around the side of the moon, you have to put that filter back on again quickly. Otherwise you'll burn your either retina or sensor. It's speed of use. So you really want just a filter that literally just slots over the front of the camera rather than screws in. That wouldn't be much use. But the Barda film, which I use, which I just sandwich between literally 2 bits of cardboard, which I cut out to the right size, and then tape it to the front of the camera. That has an ND value of 3.8. And this is going to sound technical, Ruth, but it will all make sense in a minute. This filter here has an ND value of 5, which is much, much greater density. Now, the problem with that is that even if you forget the eclipse, even if you just want to photograph the sun without the moon in the way, that's going to give you an exposure of, if you're at ISO 100, James, an f8, what do you reckon your shutter speed was going to be on?
If you then apply that?
Yes.
Well, you're going to have to watch your shutter speed, because you can't go below that, otherwise you'll get movement in the sun.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to open the lens all the way up, and probably you're going to have to open the lens up to f4, let's say, and then. Well,
no, but hang on. Whoa, we're talking about a long lens here, so the chances are that most lenses aren't going to go to f4. They're going to go f6.3.
Therefore, that ND that you're talking about is too thick, too dense, for want of a better word, to work on most people's lenses, because you're going to need an f2.8 400mm lens otherwise.
Yes. So let's just say you've got a Sigma or a Tamron 150 to 600 millimeter zoom.
You'd be better off buying the Barda stuff at, I think you just said it was a 3-stop, did you? I was reading.
No, 3.8 and ND 3.8, which is equivalent to 13 stops, basically.
Yeah, which is a lot.
Whereas an ND5 is 18 stops. So we're talking about the difference of 5 stops there. But anyway, I'll give you the answer. So if you were shooting f8, which would be pretty much wide open on most, long telephoto lenses, like the Sigma or the Tamron. I think they're like f6.3, are they?
3, yep, they are mainly, yes.
So you're shooting pretty much wide open. At ISO 100, your exposure time shooting a photo of the sun would be 1/8 of a second. So that's just not going to give you a sharp shot. So, so the Barda film, which is only 13 stops, that would knock your exposure time up to 1/250th of a second, which is far more reasonable. What you're going to end up doing with this filter is you're going to buy the filter, and then you're going to put it on the front of the camera, and you're going to end up shooting at ISO 800 or ISO 1600 to compensate for the too much neutral density that you've put on. But like I said, it's not made for photography, but I think it's probably made for spotting scopes and binoculars. But if you want to buy it, then you're not going to waste much money, because even the large one's $30. So what's that, £25? It's not the end of the world, and you might get a record shot of the eclipse. So there you go.
All right, that's the the Daystar Universal Lens Solar Filter. James, we've got a proper piece of camera gear that you're going to be chatting about. What have we got here?
Well, we have, Ruth, Panasonic have just brought out the Lumix L10, and apparently it is compact, stylish, and very capable. So
very capable. That
So
sounds like a report card.
So the Lumix series across the years has always been well regarded, and I think I even owned one once. Actually, I can't really remember. I think I gave it to my boy once upon a time, but they are certainly well regarded. They've always been well reviewed over the years, and the L10 is a kind of update of the LX100. So, and it says 25 years ago, that's when Panasonic first started making Lumix. So it's about time for them to bring out a sort of an anniversary camera, and that's what the L10 is. So it's kind of a micro four thirds in terms of its sensor size. It's 1,500 quid, which is quite a lot of money really, and it comes with a fixed lens. The equivalent in full frame is 24 to 75 mil. So that's quite a good range actually for a fixed lens like that. That's the equivalent, and the lens is made by Leica, and they've upgraded the quality of the lens, and it doesn't specifically say what and how they've done it, but I suspect it's to do with coatings and possibly to do with element movement in it that works with the upgraded autofocus system as well. The lens is, as I said, 24 to 75 equivalent, full frame equivalent, f1.7 to 2.8, so it's quite quick. I often wonder whether they wouldn't be better, because I'm just not a fan of variable aperture lenses for the way I shoot, and I think it overly complicates things. And I think they would have probably been better just making it 2.8 all the way through, maybe, or if they could have compromised somewhere, maybe even making it 24 to 70 mil, they probably could have squeezed it down to an f2 all the way through lens, which would have been nicer. It weighs 500 grams. Which I was thinking, is that heavy? Is that not? And then I was, in between this, I was picking up another lens, a Canon lens of mine. I was thinking that's probably about 500 grams. So it's actually not too bad for a lightweight fixed lens camera. You can also upgrade your L10, Ruth. Now, this will be for Marcus when he's in the Portree hood, giving it large. You can upgrade it for a mere $100 if you buy directly from Panasonic.
Yeah,
and it will come in champagne gold.
Oh, bling!
Gold.
With a matching auto lens cap, which I'll come on to in a second. A premium camera strap, a lens cloth, and a threaded shutter button. Now, the threaded shutter button, Marcus. What would you use a threaded shutter button for?
Well, to put a mechanical cable release like this one here.
Well, that's brilliant for a non-visual podcast. Michael is holding up a mechanical cable release. However, this threaded button doesn't work with that. It is purely a threaded button so that you can screw in a little colourful extra
I have one of those.
I was about to say only a total loser would buy one.
My original Fuji X100.
Oh my! Who does that?
I got the tiny little red plastic thing.
So the only reason I can think of it,
just to look posher.
Yeah, well, no, there is one other reason. And there's a couple of times when I've been with people that maybe have arthritic hands or something, and I can see that a slightly bigger shutter button could be useful. So I will slightly caveat my scepticism about a colourful screw-in shutter button. I mean, honestly, what is the world
Put a positive spin on it, remember, James?
Trying to put a positive spin on it, yes. However, for $100, for it to be sprayed gold and have a screw thread that doesn't actually do anything.
I think you should get $100 off if it's gold.
That's a good idea, isn't it?
You can just say that the price is $1,500 or pounds, whatever it is. But if you want to save a bit of money, you have to have a gold one.
The funny thing is that this camera, when I was looking at it, and it does look good because it's, one of the great benefits of this particular lens is it's made by Leica, and it's got this wonderful leaf system with the lens cap. That if you look at the videos, that when you turn the camera on, the lens pops out. It's almost erotic, and it opens like a flower, like a petal opening. It's quite sexy in some kind of ways.
Don't ever take up poetry, James.
No, I won't. I'll leave that to the long dead relatives.
It's not your typical point and shoot kind of compact.
No, but it
looks like a
Yeah, go on.
Leica or something like that with
it
just
does.
The unexpected lens coming out of the
But it does do two things, Ruth, that lens. It solves the lens cap problem, which Canon have royally, I can't say that word on this podcast, but it begins with F and ends in D. They've made a bit of a mess. Fudged. Thank you very much.
That's the word
their
you were
lens cap problem, and their way of solving the lens cap problem was to unfudge their lens caps and then sell people more lens caps, which are probably about 2 pence to produce for about $20 each. So this one has a fantastic lens cap on the front of it, and I think with its 26 megapixel chip, which apparently has been upgraded. It's got good dynamic range to it. The lens has manual focus override, which is always good and quite easy to use. It has an aperture ring on the front of the lens. So I think it would make quite a good street photography camera or quite a good pocket camera, except if you've bought it in gold, in which case you've just taken away from any sort of subtleness whatsoever. So... But it looks like a good camera. It's very hard to give a review and talk about it because I haven't seen it or held it or used it. But so far, it seems like quite a nice little piece of kit and might be the sort of thing that if you're a one camera merchant or you were going to a city break or your partner is bored of you carrying around a rucksack full of 69 lenses while she carries the tripod, or indeed he carries the tripod for you, and you just want something to pop in your pocket and you can justify 1,500 quid, which is quite a lot of money for a single lens camera like this. But if you can justify it, then I reckon it would be pretty good.
I'm going to use that one camera merchant as a derogatory term from now on.
No, well, you know I am.
Yeah,
you know I am.
No, but you can imagine you just talking to somebody and you go, "Oh, you're such a one camera merchant."
Is that positive or negative, though? Because
No, negative.
I can see you extolling the virtues of just carry one camera. You did that in China. You said, I took one camera with me, it's all I needed, one lens.
Yeah, but the answer is, Ruth, you need to have at least 15 cameras to choose which camera you're going to take on the trip.
No, we're not. We're talking about when you're actually out and about with it. We're not talking about in your base of operations where you should have at least 2,000 cameras and lenses, most of which have run out of actuation, scattered about. But I think if you're going to choose to wander around on a city break or something, or whatever it is, really, then this is... I'd like to try it anyway.
It's cool.
I think it's cool.
It's unusual, yeah. It's the kind of thing when you first see a picture of it with the lens popped out, just seeing the kind of leaf...
you could just spend a whole evening turning it on, turning it off again, watching that happen.
It does look fun. I mean, check it out. There is a link to the article that we're looking at, which has got videos and pictures and stuff like that, including the champagne gold or whatever it is. A titanium gold, I believe it's called. But it is like, it's like the Apple.
No, champagne gold. Champagne gold.
Is that what
I've copied and pasted from the website to my notes.
Do you know what? We should manufacture like an image where people have got the the gold necklace that holds the SD card, the very expensive SD card, the various things we've found over the years that are kind of bling-worthy photography accessories, and he could be holding one of these golden cameras and just the most expensive.
We could dress you from head to foot in that bling and give you some forever flowers.
Just accessories all the way. Yeah. Anyway, check that out if it appeals to you, or you just want to have a wee look at it. Marcus. Apple are trying to be helpful for the people using their camera phones. What's going on here?
So their new operating system for the iPhone, which is the iOS 27, can now alter the camera position after you've taken the photo. Now, it's called spatial reframing. You ever heard of that phrase?
Oh, I like that.
Before, James?
Spatial is good.
I've heard of those two words, but never in that particular order.
Yep, so spatial reframing will allow you to move the camera's position after the photo's been taken, and it will work on older photos, not just ones that have been taken with the new software. So you can basically adjust the perspective now after the fact rather than having to get the camera position right before you take a photo. So this is another safety net for bad photographers. We should let Blanche know about this. Composition and subject choice were the only two things safe from AI, and now basically it's taken over composition as well. So we've only got subject choice now. That's the only thing that us photographers have got any input whatsoever. So sooner or later, AI will be saying, hey, you just walked past a great building there. Why don't you go back and take a photo of it? And then we don't need to do anything, do we? So Apple will limit the daily use of spatial reframing due to the server processing demands required to use it. So everyone will get a limited number of tries per day.
But on the upside, But on the upside of all of this processing power and all of these data centres drawing power off basically the grids, various grids around the world, is we won't be able to go anywhere because we won't be able to charge our electric vehicles. That's true.
Yeah, and we won't be able to afford their memory cards either.
Well,
unless they're fake ones, in which case they'll be all right. Yeah. So this spatial reframing can also uncrop photos, so anti-crop, expand, whatever the opposite of crop is. So if you frame something slightly too tight,
content-aware fill is what you're looking for, I think.
Yeah, but if you frame something too tight and you think, okay, I'm going to zoom out, even though there wasn't anything to zoom out into, it will basically create it for you. So like James said, it's content-aware fill, but they're just doing it so you can do it on your phone and zoom out on stuff. So one line which Apple haven't crossed, however, is the ability to add generated imagery to your photos. Now, this is something I've seen cropping up a lot on my Facebook feed recently. And I think it was because my phone knows I was at the Great Wall. And so it suddenly started showing me lots of photos of people at the Great Wall. And 99% of them clearly weren't actually ever there. So they've got a Samsung or a Google phone and they upload their photo and they say, just put me at the Great Wall, and it puts them there. And then they upload it to Facebook and say, hey, everybody, look, I'm having a great time in China. And you look at it and it's really good, the way that it models the light and everything, the direction of light.
This is going to make running trips really simple in the future, because we just need to meet everyone at Heathrow Terminal 4, take some pictures of them, and then they can go home.
Yeah. So Apple have not gone that far, because the other competing phones, the Samsungs and the Googles, they can do that. And Apple have said, no, we're drawing a line in the sand. And they've actually said that photos should be things which really actually happened. But yet they're allowing us to zoom out of photos which haven't got any periphery around them to zoom out, and they're allowing us to change the angle of the photo. So clearly it didn't exist anyway, did it? So you can't say one thing and then do the other. I don't know what to think about that, really. I just think it's another safety net for bad photographers. It's like, the analogy that I use, right, Ruth, is if someone put you in a racing car and said, listen, this car will do everything. All you have to do is sit there and smile as you go around the racetrack, and you'll be faster than Lewis Hamilton. Does that make you feel good?
Yes.
Bear in mind, this is taken on the phone. Okay, I took a picture yesterday of someone, and I had to redo it for a certain reason. When I redid it, I accidentally just cropped in a little bit tight, so it wasn't as nicely composed as the previous one.
So that was your mistake, and you should pay for it. You should learn.
But when it's a moment in time, you just think, oh, if I could
but you should learn from your mistake. Yeah, okay, I've missed the moment because I messed up. Next time, I will make sure I don't mess up, and that's what will make you a better photographer. But if you've got the phone putting all these safety nets under all your...
don't worry, the cream will always rise to the top.
Well, I'm not so sure. Right, so Google phones, apparently, okay, I don't have one, but I've just read about this. Google phones have a photography coach, which is an audible command to tell the user how to frame their photo. So as you're taking a photo, the phone's talking to you saying, put the phone up a little bit and to the left a little bit, because it will give you a better composition. It's like, what is the point?
Hey, this could be an interesting business kind of side venture. You could actually do a real version of that and have you link to someone who's chosen to have you, and just live. You
joke.
Just turn to the left down a bit.
But there are times when I can sit here in Devon, and there are times when another photographer is doing some work on my behalf somewhere in the country, and he shows me the back of the camera and he shows me the composition, FaceTime call, and and I'll tell him what to do.
You're saying, just wet the T-shirt a little bit more.
Anyway, speaking of damp photography, James, what's the next item that we've got here?
So we're going to talk about another camera, Ruth.
Yes, we are.
As Marcus regains his composure, because he's made something. He made a joke that he found amusing himself. So this is from a company called Lomography, and it's called a
Who we love.
Do we? Is that official?
Yeah, Lomography are good.
Yeah, no, they do. They make all sorts of fun things, don't they? And it's called a fisheye number 2, a La Mer 35mm camera. So I've been struggling on the terms of the research to do with this, Ruth, because I've got their page in front of me, and I will explain in a second briefly what it does and what it doesn't do. But this camera first came out a long time ago, and then there was a second version of it a couple of 3 years ago, the number 2 version, I presume. And now this Lemaire version, I stand to be corrected. So people write in and complain and tell me I'm wrong. But I can't see that this Lemaire version is any different to the previous number 2, except it's blue. Now, I might be completely wrong. But anyway, there's very little detail out there about this camera at the moment. But it's a film camera. So it's a 35mm film camera. And it has a fisheye lens on the front of it, which is a 10mm fisheye. It's a sort of fixed aperture f8, shutter speeds at 100th of a second. It has bulb mode. It doesn't have, which I find extraordinary, a screw mount on it, a tripod mount on it. So I don't know how you would use bulb mode on that. Anyway, I guess you just put it on the ground and get on with it. But it's basically a fisheye lens, and not a bad-ish lens, wrapped up in quite a cheap-ish 170 degree field of view fisheye lens, wrapped up in quite a cheapish body for 70 quid. So it's not a bad thing altogether. It's quite a good little package.
James and Marcus both pointed this one out to me. Why? What drew your eye about this? What made it a bit different?
I'll tell you what drew my eye, Ruth, is because it said that it was inspired by the sound of crashing waves on the seashore. And I thought, how can an audio sound inspire the camera?
Well, would you like me to read you that? Because you remember that. It says, inspired by the soft sounds of the waves splashing the seashore and the glow of the shining sun, this dreamy camera is ready to capture your experimental antics in an incredible 170-degree fisheye view.
That sounds like it's...
I don't want anything catching my experimental antics in 170 degrees. Thank you.
That sounds like it's been written by either AI or someone who's paid far too much in the marketing
or an
department.
Artist.
Yeah.
Some people maybe are inspired audibly and it translates visually. I don't know how artists' brains work necessarily, nor do you, obviously. But beyond, looking at... Ooh, careful.
Another saucer of milk for Miss Taylor, please.
Hey, I've got my finger on the edit button here. I glanced at this at first, and when you see Lemaire, you see the blue. My assumption at first was, it's an underwater camera. So is that not the case? Is it just visually?
Well, I don't know, because I've tried my best to find out.
You wouldn't have thought that a film camera would be underwater without an external housing. And
it doesn't look like it is. So, would you like to know a little bit more about the story of the camera? The fisheye number 2 Lemaire is made for daydreamers who want to tickle the senses and push the boundaries of their lives. Wow. Lenses and film. Dare to let yourself float off into a warm ocean of creativity.
Can we fade him out, Ruth?
As your escapades unfold through the fisheye. It keeps talking about in the first person as if you should really be taking pictures of yourself with this camera, which I suppose, if it's a fisheye lens, it'd be pretty hard not to.
I think it's the whole fish, isn't it? The fish eye thing as just they've got kind of like fixated on it, and they've thought, right, well, let's go down the sea route because it's got fish eye in the title. So I'm not suggesting I don't want to poo-poo this camera because I love Lomography for what they do,
and it's only £70.
Exactly, and that's what they do best. They make very affordable cameras which are just fun, and they encourage people to enjoy photography. And
Absolutely.
So there's no way that we want to knock that. But like you say, I don't know anything about this camera, James, but other than I just thought it was very strange.
There's not a lot out there about it, so if you're interested, I would suggest make a note and have a look back, because even YouTube doesn't have a lot of videos on it or anything really. So I know we haven't been doing it for the previous 2 or 3 things, but is it a hit, a miss, or a maybe?
Yeah, Ruth's been very, very lackluster on the old buttons there, hasn't she?
I'm just thinking it's just such a faff. It's such a faff. I don't think we need it, but you feel free to go for it on this one. What do you reckon? Hit, miss, or almost?
Miss. Lomography is a hit. The camera is a miss.
Okay, there we go. We'll give you a fail sound effect just to finish us off. But anyway, we do like Lomography, as you say. They're always bringing out fun, original lenses and films, which do inspire people to get out there and just experiment with stuff. So you can check out a link to all the gear stuff we've been talking about in the show notes on whatever platform you're tuning in on.
The Photography Online Podcast, in partnership with Kingjoy Tripods.
All right, well, earlier on in the show, we heard from Nick, who was out using his Kingjoy C85 tripod somewhere in the world. Now, he dropped a few clues for us to work out where he was, but we can now reveal the answer. So, Nick, where are you?
So, Ruth, The clues were that I'm in the mountains photographing some famous ancient ruins at 8,000 feet, and this place lies at the end of one of the world's most famous hikes. That hike is the Inca Trail, a 26 multi-day journey which ends here at Machu Picchu. Well done if you got that right. Since you last heard from me, I haven't managed to get another people-free shot, and this place is getting busier by the minute, so it definitely paid to turn up early. I'm off to Cusco now to see what that's all about. Catch you soon.
He's off to Costco. Is there a Costco near Machu Picchu?
Costco, yeah.
He's got some shop. He's got to do his weekly shop.
Anyway, if you want to see the photo Nick took at Machu Picchu, do check out the link in the show notes. We'll be hearing from another team member on location with their tripod next month. And talking of next month, video coming up on our main Photography Online YouTube show. Our next episode is featuring James himself. He's going to be showing us how to shoot portraits in natural light. So we're looking forward to that one. That's coming up over the next... in fact, will it be out by the time this goes out? I'm trying to remember, Marcus. I think it might be.
Yeah, I think it's probably today.
Okay, probably the today, yeah, so we may get mixed up sometimes when we're recording things a little bit in advance, but do check that out. We will be back, of course, on the podcast next month, as usual. Until then, take good care, and most of all, take good photos.
You've been listening to the Photography Online podcast in partnership with Kingjoy Tripods.